Hello, everybody.
Hello. There we go.
We are having, I guess, what one might call some technical difficulties today. The cameras won't go where we want them to go.
It's like the story of my life.
So,
I think I just managed to get it so that I can move it where we need it to go without making people completely seasick.
well,
Okay.
we'll hope so. That's always the goal, is because we don't want anybody to get ill from
watching.
You don't want to get sick from watching us, right?
All right.
So
Holy moly.
we're live, so we've got people, so that means I think
It's
we're good. That part's good.
Wow. Okay.
We've got the wrong doodad. So I'm Lisa,
Oh, I can fix that.
but we can fix that. Ta-da!
Yay!
There we go. Okay. You know,
I know, right?
identity crisis.
Wow, it's Tuesday. It's like we've never done this before.
It's
it's been a day.
It's a year ago, and this is our first show ever, and nothing's working.
Right? I
crow.
touched. So we're late because I touched a button on our website and it completely rearranged the homepage.
Yeah.
Well, and everything.
So like nothing's where it's supposed to be. Things that were programmed aren't programmed anymore. And
no.
So bear with. We'll
Yes.
figure that all out again somehow. And It's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday. It is Tuesday. Let's see if I can get this out of the way here.
Hi, Dad.
Without losing anybody. Okay. I think as long as I don't get too close to this, we should be okay.
You're gonna knock it over.
Probably. So let's hope not.
Let's hope not.
So
today we are going to talk about reinforcement stitches and how wonderfully easy these machines can make it.
Right.
As long as you don't have to video yourself while doing it.
As long as oh my gosh. So this is probably going to be what the preview is now. It'll be like the Home Alone
We'll
thing.
be like, ah! Okay, we got that out.
Okay, so
anyway, let's talk for a minute.
Yeah.
Let's take a breather.
Right?
We're gonna
so
deep breath.
We have classes coming up tomorrow.
We do.
So foot fetish.
Foot fetish is in the morning.
Yep, it's the Teflon foot and scan and cut class. Your scan and cut project is so cute.
I'm really excited. I've been working on videos. So yesterday I was trying to do videos while we were open because this construction there, we get people in, which is great. We always love it for you guys to come in, but we haven't been quite as busy in shop, which it's been great. You guys are shopping online and stuff and calling, and that's fantastic. So Jean comes out. I'm in the middle of a video, of course, almost at the end of it.
Yes.
And Jean comes out like, and I'm like, oh, crap. No, I got to do that one all over.
It's hard to edit out like a weird spot in the video.
Yeah. Hi, Mom.
It's easier to just sometimes start over.
Yeah,
yes.
Hi,
Mom.
It is. So
hi, Lisa's mom. Hi, Dad. Hi, my dad.
I said hi to Dad already.
Yeah.
You were still freaking out.
I was still trying to make this work. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Wow.
It's
so Hayden has been photographing thread for us. So we've been putting the exquisite thread on the website. So whatever configuration he had with the camera and the phone wasn't working for the
screen of the embroidery machine or sewing machine. So
yeah, I don't know why I didn't just take it off
and redo
and start at the beginning because we were short on time and I was trying to just make it work.
It never fails. It's always like, holy crap, we got to go do this.
Yeah. It's like 3:00. It's just like that.
It's, it's 10 o'clock forever.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's 11 o'clock forever. And then all of a sudden it's 3 o'clock.
Yes.
So what did you do this weekend?
We put carpet in our bedroom. So that was the last little bit of flooring that we have to do besides our master bathroom. Mm-hmm. So, and we made the decision to start the master bathroom in the beginning of July. We were going to wait a little while, but the outside of the house, it's a log cabin house, and it needs work. The house was neglected before we got it, and so there's a lot of rotted wood outside.
Oh, that's no fun.
It isn't, and with the cost of building materials, the way the cost of building materials are, we've decided to finish the inside and do the outside next year. So we attempted to buy, it's always so hard to give people your money these days. I get it if you guys are having trouble. We Menards, you go online, it says it's in stock, but then you try to order it and it says it has to be delivered only. So then you call someone and that person is like, oh yeah, I'll take care of it for you. Of course they don't take care of it for you. And then it's an ordeal to try to make sure that you aren't charged twice. So that was what we did.
Yeah.
And then
we run into that here all the time.
Right.
It's just like,
and that was so we did that on Sunday. And I usually do my videos on Monday because I'm typically home alone on Monday. So I don't have to worry about Dave not sitting down and being restless. And yesterday he was finishing up the carpet in the closets. And I told him I was going downstairs to video. So I'm like, can you be quiet for a little while?
For about 45 minutes, right?
Yes. Yeah. And then all of a sudden I'm, again, just like you, right, like almost at the end of the video. And all of a sudden, all I can hear is the nail gun, and then the air compressor goes on. So if I could ignore but you couldn't ignore the
air compressor.
So then I walk upstairs and I'm like, hi, and he's like, oh shoot.
I'm sorry.
So I redid my videos too, which was super fun. But the Teflon foot's relatively easy. So
yeah. So I recut today.
Mm-hmm.
I redid that one video portion I redid today. So I just have a little bit of tweaking, and then I have to put them all together.
Yeah.
I didn't have that done yet. So, but I got all the instructions are all typed now. So that part's done. So if you are taking class tomorrow, you should get an email before I leave today. So it'll probably be 6-ish, somewhere between 5 and 6 when you get an email with the Zoom link and the instructions, and that part's done. So yeah. I still have a little bit of time.
Yes.
To blend my videos together.
Yeah,
so.
It's not exactly.
But I figured that part out now, so it's not so hard. It's just time.
Yeah.
Just time.
So you were asking earlier if I had everything done. So the video is up and posted. The only thing that I haven't done, because I've been linking the videos to the feet that are for sale. Yeah. I haven't linked that video to the foot that's for sale yet. But other than that, the video is up, and I recorded that one. I must have hit the 4K button on my phone yesterday when I recorded it. So when I went to load it into Canva it had a little bit put there, it said it was like an 8-minute video, but it said it was way too long, and I was like,
a little big.
Oh, yeah. But I managed to load the video at home yesterday.
That's actually, so you live in the boonies. You don't have a lot of oomph out there. So yeah, your router must really be helping.
Yes. And I did it from the basement, which is the furthest away from the router. So that felt like a huge win yesterday. So
it's the little things.
I probably used all of our like the
bandwidth.
The bandwidth. Yeah. All of our, I probably used it all just to upload that video. Dave will be like, how did we go through 50 gigs of
right.
I don't know.
All of the data has been used up now. You have nothing left for the rest of June.
I don't know. It must have been that 4K video
that
I loaded up.
I have a new box.
You have a new box? Oh, look at you.
I have a new box.
I see that. It's a cute box.
You want to grab that side?
Yeah.
This is what I did.
I see. Look at you.
So this fabric is being re-released. So I thought I should get some stuff done so that you guys could see what it would look like. So this is the We Whisk You one of the rows, and I've got part of another row done. So I got a little bit of stitching done this weekend, and I ran away from everybody else, but not a whole lot done. But you know, the 18-minute stitch time that it says it was going to take didn't take 18 minutes.
It's like
Can you
couple
imagine?
Of hours. Yeah, it's
so
crazy.
Super, super cute. And I don't know that I'm going to get the whole thing done, and don't know where the heck we put it, even if I did. But we'll get some done so you guys can see what that will look like. That's coming up. I don't know what date, but I don't remember if I saw a date.
I don't know either.
But sooner or later, we'll be having a re-release of all of that. So
yes.
Very cute, and I've always loved that. I actually bought personally all of that stuff, so that's actually my stuff, not the store stuff. That's my stuff that I played with this weekend.
Yes.
So
would you be so kind as to hand me my water right there? It's the purple cup.
I'm gonna go that way for a second. Oh, and it fell over.
Thank you. I was afraid if I got up,
The camera would die.
would
So,
lose this.
Cheers.
Cheers, yes.
Okay, so we're going to see if this camera setup is going to work here. So what we have for you today is we've talked before about there's all kinds of straight stitches on our machines. And what we talked about last time was making those straight stitches into a 1/4 inch seam allowance.
Yes.
Today, we're going to talk about how you can use the auto reinforcement. So reverse, whatever you want to call it. There's all kinds of names people call that.
Right.
So
Essentially locking the stitch.
locking the stitch in, whatever you
Yes.
call that, whether you call that drill stitch, whether you call it your auto reverse, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
There's a couple different ways that these machines will do that. So we're going to switch the camera over and show you what the screen looks like first so that you can see what those stitches look like.
Okay. So we know we're showing this on the big machine, but all of our Brother and Babylock machines that are electronic, they are going to have some version of this. And I'm going to try to push this in
I'm just curious, does your camera zoom?
It does, but it will not zoom here.
Okay.
For whatever reason. So we basically have this stitch right here, and that one has like almost like a little quotation mark at the beginning. It's two marks,
2 lines.
And then we have this one right here that has a little teeny tiny dot. And while you probably can't see the 2 marks or the dots, you can see at the tip that that's bigger than this one. And that is the part that determines how
it's going to do that locking.
Yeah, we basically have 2 locking choices. We have a reverse, one that goes forward and backwards, and then we have one that stitches in place.
Ties a knot.
Regardless of what you call them, everybody calls them something slightly different.
Yep.
The only way that feature is going to work at the beginning is if we turn it on.
Yep.
And so I am going to tip the camera down ever so slightly here. I'm going to try to go really, really slow. So I know how you turn it on the machine is you're going to have a picture that looks something like this on your machine. So it's a combination of like the two
types of stitching.
Yes, it's the reverse button with the little dot. And so when I have this turned on, so whether that's a touch screen or on the side of your machine, you have a little button that you push and it maybe highlights it or makes it a little blue mark or something like that.
And on some of the older machines, it will actually put the arrow on the screen.
Right.
So when you tap it on your so if you have a much smaller LCD screen, your arrow will then be on screen and where it wouldn't have been before.
Right. So we have turned the stitch on currently because that little button has been basically electronically depressed.
Yep.
Right. So I'm going to go back to us really quick, and then I am going to slide my camera over.
Sure you are.
So that we can see the button on the machine.
Up, and away we go.
Right. I wonder if that will be. You guys should be able to see it.
I think we're good there.
There we go.
So this is the front of the machine. We've got our start stop button, your reverse button, reinforcement, needle up down, scissors, and presser foot up down.
Yes. And so if we want to activate the stitch, so we've turned it on electronically on the machine here, and now we're going to pick the stitch that we want to do. So the one that is currently selected is the reverse button. So it's the one with the little 2 dash marks. So I'm going to slide over to Lisa's camera here for a second so that you can see what is going to happen when we actually start stitching. So if you will watch what happens, we do have the speed turned down slow. So hopefully it doesn't go too fast.
It won't go real fast. So when we have, what do we got selected?
The reverse.
We have the reverse on. So when I hit the gas pedal, I've got it plugged in so that I don't have to get my hands in the way here so you guys can see. So we're just going to keep an eye on the needle here. I'm not sure if I can go in any. I've got it zoomed in as far as I possibly can here, guys. So if I go any farther, it's going to tip over. And we don't want that.
No.
So we move forward 3 stitches, backwards 3 stitches, and then it starts sewing again. So again, I'm literally as slow as we can possibly go. I have the foot pedal all the way down and that's as fast as it's going to sew. All right, so as I'm sewing, and I know my material's not lined up or anything, but that doesn't matter. So when I get to the end of my material, a little faster now. All right, so I get to the end of my material, just like we would at home, right? I can tap, this is again my reverse button. So we have those two lines
On the
above the stitch selected.
yes.
I'm going to tap the reverse button and the machine is going to sew backwards 3 times and forwards 3 times. Now I know you can't see my foot, but it is not on the gas pedal. All right, so I'm not doing anything. The machine is doing that all by its lonesome. I hit my scissors and this machine will raise the foot all by itself. So thank you. On here, hopefully you can see, this is my new phone. I don't even know where this stupid camera is. Isn't that terrible? I've got a reinforced stitch here. So you can see it's a little bit heavier. We have variegated thread, probably not the best choice. It's like all changing colors and it's reinforced here. So it's a forward and backward movement in the first 3 stitches. And then it stitches along. And then when I tapped that reverse, I get that forward and back. You can see it's reinforced there at the end of that seam as well. The machine is doing that all by itself because we've pressed that button.
Okay, so let's go to this screen here and let's show that again. So a slightly different view. So again, we're going to put our foot down and you're going to watch the machine is going to go forward and backwards.
All right, so again, I'm pressing the foot pedal down. I'm not touching anything with my hands. Forward 3 stitches, backwards 3 stitches, and now it's going to start sewing. When I get to the end of my fabric, I took my foot off the pedal. I tap the reverse button. It goes backwards 3 stitches and forwards 3 stitches and stops. Scissors. And again, this time it's on the darker portion so you guys can see a little bit better.
Oh, there you go.
And you can see that that is much darker here. Sorry, with the lighter thread there, you couldn't see very well. But the beginning is much heavier and the end is much heavier because you have that reinforced stitch at the beginning and the end.
And just to be clear, so that's a good practice to get in, but you can seriously, you can be sewing with your foot on the pedal, and when you get close to the end,
you can tap it.
Tap that button.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. I'm just doing it nice and slow so you guys can see that I'm not doing anything, that the machine is doing that for me.
That's right. So reality is when you're sewing for real, like when I'm sewing and I'm using that feature, I have my foot on the pedal. I'm stitching. My foot is still on the hip. I just tap whichever button I want to use. Yep. And then it just completes the stitch. And then you can even, so I'm going to go over to us again. So you've got that as a choice. And then you also have, wow, so many options here. Okay, at least it's tiny. All right. So you also have some of these other features on a lot of the electronic machines, not all of them, but on a lot of them that you can actually touch. So if I had this foot highlighted and this foot highlighted here, what would happen when we finish stitching is it would do those things as well. It would go ahead, trim the thread, and then put my foot up.
Yep.
So instead of putting your foot down, this one puts your foot up. Darn it, right? I know. So what we're going to do now is we're going to select the other option. So this is the button with kind of the reinforcing straight stitch or quilter's locking stitch or drilling stitch, whatever. But it's basically going to stitch in place. So we're going to, again, slide over. All right, so when we get to the end, I'm just going to point to this button here. This is the button that Lisa is going to be pushing. This is the one that's going to lock the stitch in place for us. And I'm going to switch to her camera now. There
Yep.
we go.
So what we're going to do is when I hit the gas this time around, it's going to stitch 3 right in place. So basically it's going to make a knot at the beginning. Then it's going to start sewing. And again, like she was saying, I was only stopping so that you guys could see very clearly exactly what the machine was doing. I don't stop at home either.
No.
I'm only doing that for your benefit from a video perspective so that you can see very clearly what is happening
Right.
on the machine.
Nothing bad will happen if you push the button while you're stitching.
Absolutely
That's really
not. The machine will do exactly what you tell it to do. It's going to go forward and backwards with your foot on the pedal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to help you guys see it a little bit clearer by slowing down and letting you guys see it. So again, I'm starting with my foot on the pedal. It's going to stitch 3 in place, and then it starts sewing. And at home, you know, I don't usually get my hands off the fabric either.
Right.
So this time I'm not going to completely take my foot off. And when I get there, I tap that and it stitches 3 in place. So that's a little bit more realistic, like what you would do. You would tap that as you were sewing.
Exactly.
All right. Hit my scissors. And then this machine is programmed to raise that foot. So you can see the knot right there here, and then you can see the forward and backwards movement there. Let me see if I can move in just a little bit more so you guys can see that pretty clearly.
Yep.
All right. So those are the 2 options that you have. Now, why would you choose one from the other?
Personal preference.
So, personal preference is certainly one. This knot is not going to be putting excess thread into your seam allowance, where this one is going to be adding thread into your seam allowance. So when you are doing clothing, something like that, you're going to be using that forward and backwards movement because you want a much more secure seam. You want something that is absolutely not going to pull out, and there is no pressing open of the seams in most instances. So it doesn't matter that you are adding in that little bit of extra thread in there. So that's not like a quilter seam that you're pressing open that all of a sudden the measurements are going to be off because you have extra thread in there.
Right.
So most of us who make clothing, if you are doing that, you're going to be using that forward and backward movement to secure that seam in place. Most of us who quilt do not want to use that. A lot of times when we're quilting piecing wise, we're not putting anything in there.
That's right.
So you're not using that at all.
We are using the term quilting in this instance as sewing through the 3 layers.
The 3 layers.
Not the piecing part. Correct. Yeah. So if I was going to use like my walking foot to do some quilting, if I use that securing knot and it takes tiny little stitches in place, it's going to be a lot less noticeable in that seam rather than it going back and forth. And this is used to keep the 3 layers together. You really aren't going to be putting the same kind of stress on that seam as you would be in your clothing. So while they both lock in place, they do have their right places.
The right place to be used.
Yes. And if you use them in the wrong setting, you may be disappointed with what you have. We're going to answer Alice's question in just a minute, or her statement. So, again, let's show them what happens when we push the scissor button here, just so they can see the other thing, because this, again, is one of those things that you might want to turn on and off, but you definitely don't want to keep this on all the time because sometimes you want to lock it in place, but you're not ready
but you
to completely
aren't done to pull it out of the machine and moving on to something else.
That's right. So we're still in the securing stitch here. So we'll go ahead and flip this over here, and we're going to start sewing.
All right. Yeah. I don't always have I'm so used to demoing without a foot pedal. It's just, at home, I don't ever do that. It's so funny, but I certainly do it here all the time. Okay. This is actually what I meant to hit. Bad habits, right?
Right.
Or just habits, I guess.
Just habits, different habits.
All right, so 3 stitches in place. And Caitlin's texting me.
What's for dinner?
Yep. What's for dinner? It's 3:00. All right. So, thank you.
So, we lock, we cut the thread, and ta-da!
Ta-da!
Our foot comes up.
So, what we had done that time is not only told the machine to tie off that seam, but cut that and raise the foot all in one shebang.
That's right.
So we have a knot, it's cut it, and we're all together. So
Right.
do we want to talk about this?
Just 1 second.
Okay.
So the thing that I want to point out here is that in order for this to work at the beginning of the stitch, the machine has to know that the stitch ended.
Yep.
So if you are sewing, and you are not in the habit of using your thread cutter on your machine, a straight stitch has no beginning. It is basically just a stitch that goes over and over and over and over again. So if you take if you're sewing and you stop and you use the manual cutter on the side of your machine and you start sewing again, your machine is not
doesn't know that you started again. It doesn't know you started, finished, anything. It's just, it's still sewing.
That's right. So if you don't hit the locking button, that's okay. But you have to use the thread cutter, or you have to use the button on your machine that maybe takes it back to the beginning of the stitch in order for it to know that you need to start again.
Yep.
So I hope that makes sense, because I see people do that sometimes. They're not huge fans of maybe their thread cutter. They don't like how it cuts or how short or how long it is or whatever. And then they wonder why it doesn't start again.
Or the nest that it made underneath.
All right. So I'm going to put this up here. Alice, she says when she uses the stitch in place choice, I always get a bird's nest on the back. So, Alice, most of the time, a bird's nest on the back is done because the thread that we started with was too long. So that thread has to go someplace.
Yep.
So if you don't use your thread cutter, or you have just threaded your sewing machine and you have a long tail thread, the only way to avoid that from happening would be to actually hold that tail thread in place. This is not a Brother or a Babylock branded thing. This is every single sewing machine that is on the market. If the tail is too long when you start sewing, that is what creates your bird's nest underneath it. Every brand will do this because it pulls that thread down and it has to go someplace.
Yep. So when it's stitching in place, it kind of wraps it, and that's what it looks like is a bird's nest. It just kind of whips it around that knot, and you get that big ball of
that's right
mess.
So if you have used your thread cutter, and am I on your? Yeah, I am. I'm like, which camera am I on?
That's this one.
Is that okay? So if you are using, there we go. If you are using the thread cutter, this is what you should expect it to look like on the back. There has to be some tail threads there because when it cuts it, there has to be, it can't cut it right at the fabric. Otherwise, the thread cutter would have to be there, and it's down in our bobbin case. So if you're using your thread cutter consistently, this is what you can expect that it will look like. Either
just under an inch, somewhere just under to around an inch of a tail.
And so you have to decide whether or not that's what you want.
Sorry, didn't mean to bump the camera. I was just trying to move that so you can see it's the same thing with either type of an ending.
So that is what you can expect when you do something like this. You are going to have some threads underneath there. There is no way around that.
Yeah, and we get asked all the time, can Tony make an adjustment to that tail? And there really isn't, unfortunately, a whole lot that can be made with that adjustment. It's just not, it's not like, well, this machine made this one and this one. Yes, there is some variance from machine to machine, but it's not because he made it that way. It's just that machine, for whatever reason.
That's right.
That's where the blade sits or how it happens to come out. Now, if you're not getting a clean cut, you probably have something stuck in your blade, or your blade is dull and you need to replace it. That is something that Tony can help you with. But if it's just the length of it that you don't like, unfortunately, that's not something that is changeable.
No, it is going to be, there's going to be thread underneath there. And again, depending on your particular machine and where that thread cutter is placed, it is going to have some variance there, but there's always going to be thread there, and there's always going to be a little bit of a ball because it literally is tying a knot there.
And so, if you happen to have a machine that makes a little bit longer of a tail, you'll have a little bit more of a nest underneath.
Right.
Because of the way, it's just the law of nature. There's more more thread there, more of a nest that's going to be underneath.
That's right. So there is one little tip that you can do to prevent that from happening. It is a little bit of a pain in the butt, and it is actually the way that I quilt. So I pull my bobbin thread up to the top so that I have both my bobbin thread and my top thread on the top. Then I lock it in place using that particular stitch, and I go about my business and I trim those threads later. That is the only way to avoid any type of little discrepancy from happening at the bottom. Again, the machines are smart. They have thread cutters on them. They have to go someplace.
Yeah.
But that is really the difference between them, is a tiny little ball of thread at the beginning versus sort of a larger ball of thread if you're doing forward and backwards motion, noticeable wise.
And, you know, the reality of it is if we're doing some sort of a quilting that whatever it is that's going to be seen, we're going to take that time to make it less noticeable.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to take the step to make whatever it is look the way that we want to look. The reality of life is most of the time when we're sewing something, those ends aren't seen anyways.
Right.
So unless it is quilting where
you are going to
it's going to be seen, then you can take that extra step. I don't mean to but who cares?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a little extra thread there. Just let it go. Because that is part of the gig, I guess, is you know, unfortunately that's part of the way these things work.
Yes. Yeah.
So
and again,
in the knot is what makes it stay there. So
right. The knot is what makes it stay there.
What
That's
makes
right.
it work. So
yeah.
you know, so unless it is something that is going to be seen, and then you can take that extra step, you know, and we certainly, if you don't know how to bring up your bobbin thread, we'll help you with that. We figured that out, so we can help you out with figuring that out if you don't know how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's certainly not complicated by any
No.
stretch of the imagination. So if you would like help with that and you don't know how to do it, and certainly I know you know how to do that, Alice. I don't mean you. So,
Just in general.
Just in general. You know, if that's something that you would like to know how to do individually, you know, just let us know. We're certainly happy to help with that. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
But the machines have really gotten very smart, and it's a pretty cool that they can do all of these things for us. I don't generally turn on my cutters. I push the scissor button. The machines work perfectly. It's not because the machine cuts when I don't want it to. It's because I sometimes push buttons that I don't mean to push because I don't work perfectly. And if I turn that on and I backstitch and it cuts and I didn't want it to cut there.
Mm-hmm.
So I just do it that way. And then I'm in control
And
instead of the
control.
computer in control. Sometimes we just gotta be in control. But you know, they really have come up with some really fantastic things. The other one we didn't talk about that she turned on was the auto pivot function. And there are certainly many machines that don't have that button on there. It is a very, very fun button. I actually really like that button. Mm-hmm. The very first class I taught here, somebody had turned that button on and didn't tell me, and I didn't know what it was, and I thought it was broken, and I was like, why is it doing this?
It's a surprise.
It was a
was a
surprise, and I
see.
failed.
And you failed.
I was like, whatever this is doing, somebody needs to turn it off because I don't know how to sew with this thing doing this.
Right.
So it was something my machine at the time didn't do.
Right.
Or actually I think it did do it, but I didn't know because
yeah.
nobody had ever told me, and I was
You never touched
completely
that.
wigged out with it, and I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
I need to practice with that before I can certainly teach a class doing it. Once they turned it off, that was fine.
Fine. Yeah.
I was
It's
good.
like when I it never fails. I always sit down at the machine after Hayden has been there, and
he's turned something
he
on.
turns the needle stop down button off.
Oh.
And
Why does he do that?
He must be used to sewing that way.
That's weird.
And so I don't realize that he's done it, and so like, and it never fails that it's like a blanket stitch that I'm trying to do, right? And I'm like, and
sorry.
it doesn't stop where I think it's supposed to stop,
No.
and I'm like,
That's not.
in my mind, I'm like, okay, left, right, forward, backwards. What
See,
is
you
it
do it
doing?
too, right?
Yes. So, and then
See.
it doesn't do what I wanted
I
to
was
do.
totally doing that, making my mask. I was
Yes.
like, chanting it in my head.
That is the way you make your blanket stitch work for you. Is you talk about in your mind you have to know
I was
where
like,
the thread is going.
okay, I got a rhythm. Oh
Yes.
crap, I went the wrong way. Only once.
Yes.
I thought I did pretty darn good for my first one, but
Yes.
you know. So let's real quick show what that is. Since we did turn it on, the auto pivot. What that does is it will raise the presser foot while leaving the needle in the down position, so that you can pivot your fabric, shirt, whatever it is that you're doing, and turn the corners or whatnot. So when you turn that on, it is actually pretty cool. So now that I know what it is, I really like the button.
Yes.
So you can doodle on fabric, you can make things and make designs and things because it will stay in there. It is actually quite a bit of fun. So flip it back to mine for real quick.
Left alone like this, that is what it is. It is the auto pivot.
It is an auto pivot feature.
When you turn it on with this button here, it will all of the machines that don't have that automatic raising of the foot, it will raise the foot for
while
you
cut after your cuts. It will raise the foot for you.
This machine is really smart and it does
It
that
will do
for
that
us
anyways,
but so we're gonna turn those two pieces off so
Cool.
we can just have that on there.
All right, so we're gonna go back to this guy over here, and nope, wrong one. It's the little things in life. So basically, when I hit the gas, we're gonna sew. When I stop hitting the gas, the needle goes down and the foot comes up, so I can pivot the fabric. When I hit the gas again, it will go back down. So I can turn corners. I can make designs, whatever it is. I can sew crazy things. Doesn't really make a difference which direction that it is that I'm going. But it makes all of that super easy. Now that I know what it is, it's a really cool feature. But it really messed with me the first time I sat down and I was like, what just happened?
Yes.
I thought I broke the machine.
You thought you broke your machine.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of brands out there. So like Viking and Bernina that have a feature like this that you can, again, some you can turn on and off, some it just does just the way it is. But if you are looking, if you're coming from another brand, maybe you're thinking about buying a Brother and you're wondering if we have some of these fun, fancy features. We do. And they are really great about giving us lots of options to be able to turn those features on and off as we want to use them.
On and off is a really cool thing.
It is. You got to know
nice
where
to
it's
be able
at.
to pick and choose. But yes, you're not wrong. And of course, they keep moving the buttons because God forbid we put them in all in the same spot.
That would just make it so much easier for us to be able to say it is always in the top left corner of your screen, except for when you have this machine or that machine.
Or
yes, I know.
But the reinforcement stitch is certainly it's always so much fun to show somebody that's had one of these machines for, oh gosh, who knows how long, a year or something, and they'll come in and ask about something completely different, and we'll show them that, and they just look at us like, it's like, oh, yeah. It is such a neat feature to be, it's just a lot of stress that you can take off yourself while you're sewing, and so if you didn't know that you had it, congratulations, you have a really cool feature on your machine. She accidentally got out of that. There you go. It's the little things in life.
I also think the camera is now backwards.
Yep, there's you. Oh.
I can fix it.
The microphones. It's Tuesday.
It is. At least it wasn't the main screen.
That is true statement. There we go.
There we go.
It's the little things in life. So, but yeah, so hopefully it's
showed that. There we go.
There we go.
I thought I could get a little bit closer to the stitches. So the single, and then like this one, you can kind of see there's your triple, reverse, and straight stitch.
Yep. And so the other thing to take note of is that here's a dot, there's a dot, the zigzag stitch here, there's a line above this one, and there's a dot above the one on the right. that is also you choosing how you want that to reinforce before you stitch.
Mhm.
So on the one that's number 9 there, that has a line above the zigzag, that is going to go forward and backwards. So there's going to be full stitches while it's reinforcing that. On number 10, there's just a dot before it starts the zigzag stitch. So that's going to stitch a knot and then start the zigzag. So it's not just the straight stitches that do that. There's multiple stitches that have that. So you'll see a line or a dot in front of many stitches throughout the machines. So there's lots of different stitches that you're going to have that option to choose how you want it to stitch. When you get into the character decorative stitches, those are pretty much all going to be
Stitch in place.
a stitch in place, and they're going to automatically tie off. You don't have to do anything. They're going to automatically tie themselves in and out when you stitch that. So it's automatically going to happen for you.
But you have to turn the feature on.
You do have to turn the feature on. It's there, but
it's not a permanent turn on most machines.
True.
So if we turn this machine off, which I'm not going to do because we would knock everything
holy
over.
crap, that would be bad.
And then
Talk
turn it
about
back
crashing
on.
Things. Yeah.
That would not be pre-selected again. We would need to turn that on.
Someday that will be a permanent choice.
Be an
that
upgrade.
Would be really
Though
nice,
I have to tell you, I had another machine brand where it was a permanent setting, and it was much more of a hassle because I had to go into like that setup menu and change it. And sometimes it's in the middle of my project that I really want to change it. So I've had both. I personally think having the feature
right on screen where you can say yes or no.
Someplace that is easy to get to is a nice feature. I think it would be nice though if it were there and permanent.
Yeah.
Like if I set it, I could leave it there,
and you could toggle back and forth.
I could toggle back and forth. Yeah. So if
they
anybody
should totally ask us what we want.
Right. If anybody important is listening.
Just totally ask us these things. We have such great ideas.
We have such great ideas. Not opinions.
They're not opinions.
They're not opinions. They're great ideas.
Absolutely.
So I know everybody, when somebody asks me something that is, I think is just a ridiculous thing on the machine, I always say to them, it's because they haven't asked me. If they did, this would be changed.
Absolutely. The blanket stitch would be one of those things.
It still makes me mad. It stops in the wrong place. Don't even get me started.
She's called them on that one.
I have said it to every
don't get started.
Don't get started. And nobody listens.
No, they don't.
I don't know why they can't just rewrite that to move in one other position.
Because there's only like 5 blanket stitches on there.
They all do the same thing.
They all do the same thing.
They're very consistent about being wrong.
Like she said. Mm-hmm. So tomorrow morning we have 9:30 foot fetish, and then tomorrow late afternoon 5:00 scan and cut. There is still kits available if you were thinking about it and would like to get in on it. It's still available, and you don't have to sign up to do the foot fetish. The link is in our calendar page.
I did not mess that up.
So all you gotta do is click on it and you can just pop right in there. And that is also in our last email newsletter. So you could go there if you have that still. So super easy. And then those will be repeated on Saturday. So that's coming up. And then we've got the 25th, I believe, is Dime.
The OESD.
OESD.
No, you were right. Dime.
Oh, son of a gun.
Put her on her toes here.
I was like, I could have sworn I was putting those all in a Dime folder, but
Dime.
I could be wrong.
Yes.
So yeah, that's coming up, and that is going to be custom. I'm actually super excited. You guys keep calling saying, what's it going to be about? And we're like, oh no, but I'm excited to see. The pictures look really cool. So I'm really excited to see exactly what it is going to be, and how it all is going to equate into putting it into the hoop.
That's right. Maybe I'll learn some cool tips while I'm making these quilting designs.
Right.
Pulling my hair out.
So speaking of that, there is a new bench pillow for Christmas coming out, which we do have the reservation for on the website.
Yes.
Which no longer looks like it did about an hour ago.
You know, no one has a clue that they should never ask me for tech support, and you all ask me all the time.
So yeah, it's on there somewhere. Can't tell you where right now, but somewhere on there, there's a reservation button.
There is. They're easy to find now. It's on the side.
Yeah, you chose the simple one.
I did.
Yeah, I don't think there's links available in the simple one from what I can see. So we'll see. I'm gonna try. So we'll get there.
We'll figure it out.
We will figure it out. And then so that is the 25th. On our website, just www.leabusewingcenter.com, there is on the calendar on the 25th the link to go sign up for that dime event. And also there's like a thing that changes on the homepage.
Mm-hmm.
There's a link. If you stick around, the dime thing will come up. You can click on that and it will send you to that if you would like to sign up for that. It's completely free. I wish I could tell you what it was going to be about, but
but there'll be a sale.
There'll be a sale. There's a coupon code. It's something splash or something summer splash or something like that.
Yeah.
But when you sign up, they'll tell you what the coupon code is. And it will be repeated so you can go back and watch things for 48 hours. Mm-hmm. And I'm actually really excited about this one. I think it's going to be pretty cool.
I do too. I think it's going to be fantastic, and I'm super excited about it. I wish we got a sneak peek, but we don't.
Nope.
We don't get to see it.
Yeah, we get to host it. It says right on there that we're hosting it, but we know nothing.
But we don't know anything. So I don't think they want us to spill the beans.
Because you know we would totally
trust it.
We totally would spill the beans.
Guess what?
We would totally do that.
Yeah.
But so if you would like to join us for that, that is on.
We talk with our hands so much.
We totally do. I'm gonna sit on them.
I hope that the little YouTube replay is the one where we're both going like this. Maybe I can pick it.
So that is the 25th. And I don't know that we've got anything else in June. We've got stuff coming up in July. Mm-hmm. Welcome home.
Yeah, July is sold out.
Mm-hmm. We do have, I think, about 7 or so left for August. I've got a new Kimberbell thing coming up.
That is up on the website
it's
as well.
It's on the website, and you can find the link to it on the regular website, not the shopping site. Mm-hmm. That's all there too.
Yes.
That's for Halloween. It's super cute.
It is so cute.
I am excited. Fill in the blank has shipped.
Yes.
I can't wait to see it. The new quilted pillows are on the way. And so there's lots of really fun stuff coming. More fabrics coming. I don't know where we're going to put it, but we'll figure that out too. I need a bigger boat.
We need a bigger boat.
But I think that's about everything that's.
We could blow out this wall. Get a bigger boat.
They don't need a changing room.
They don't need to be there.
But we're really nice people. Yeah.
They could loan us some extra space.
They won't care.
No.
Okay. So yeah. Anything else?
No. July looks like it's going to be fun. We're probably going to be closed the 4th of July weekend.
Something to that effect. I don't know what days. We haven't actually talked about it. So,
but just so you know, there probably will be some closure time.
That was the idea, Pat. Glad to help.
This is why we do these videos. This is perfect. So we love it when you guys say that it worked for you. Like you totally got something from what we said. So it totally makes our day.
Yeah.
It makes our day. Like that lady was so cute when she came in. She's like, I feel like I'm seeing celebrities.
Yeah, she was like, I see you on TV. We were like, yeah, that's us.
That's us.
That's cool. Makes our day.
It totally makes our day.
Does.
Yes, it does.
All right. So enough giggling. Sorry about that. I think we're done.
I think so.
Are you done? Do you have anything else?
I do not think I have. No. Mm-mm.
All righty. So we're going to stop giggling and let y'all go. It was great for you guys to join us this afternoon. Hope you picked up some nugget of knowledge, and we will catch you next time. All right. Have a great one. Thanks for coming, and happy sewing.
Yes.
See you next time. Bye, guys.